Shemai friendly eye, and welcome back to my channel. My name's Kitten and for anyone who's new here, and let's get back into building in Planet Zoo. And today I'm building a fossa habitat. I did have to do quite a bit of research for this one because if you've seen any of the other builds for this zoo, I am sticking to like a fairy tale style of builds. I've done castles, I've done Charlie and the Chocolate Factory, I've done superstitions, but of course I didn't want to just do something just to do it. I wanted it to kind of link in with the animal. If you like look into them, the myths about fossas, they're not the most cheerful, but there is a myth about the fossas that a single lick can put a person into a deep sleep or a trance, from which they are unable to be woken. It kind of goes on to say that that will mean that the fossas can then have a snack, if you know what I mean. But we'll ignore that part and we'll just focus on the sleeping, as in Sleeping Beauty. The deep sleep and the trance made me instantly think of Sleeping Beauty, so I'm doing Sleeping Beauty's cottage, but Sleeping Beauty's cottage has been taken over by Maleficent. I thought about doing Maleficent's castle and things like that, but I've done a lot of castles, so I wanted to do something a little bit different, but I kind of wanted to tie it in with the Fox and the Hound habitat I did behind this one. Definitely preferred Maleficent to Sleeping Beauty. Sleeping Beauty's not the most interesting Disney film. It's like one of the older princesses, so she's not my favourite princess. Belle is. Hello. Belle's my favourite princess. She reads. Love her. Who's your favourite Disney princess? Is it Sleeping Beauty? If it is, I'm sorry I called her boring, but she's kind of boring. And I'm playing my game, I'm listening to the new Ed Sheeran album, Loving Life. And then I look over about half an hour later and I see that I haven't even pressed record yet. So we've missed a little bit of building. Don't worry, I do go back and like change the tree a little bit, and I changed the roof. I think I was very fussy with this one, so you didn't miss much. You'll see me fix the tree a little bit later on. It looks like the house was built around the tree, or the tree just grew through the house. And surprisingly, even though we have some really big trees in Planet Zoo, none of the trunks were actually big enough. So I've made my own tree out of the log, the Planet Zoo log. I did try a little bit of the new advanced move with the 2 arrows, but I don't know about you, but I find it kind of difficult to use at the moment. It's not an even diagonal, because that's what I sort of expected it to be, right? If you click on, let's say, the 2 bottom arrows, which is like forward and back and left and right, I assumed when you clicked in the center of those two that it would go exactly diagonal, like in the center of them, but really you can move it any which way you want. It makes it more difficult to build precisely, and I really like my precise lines and things when I'm building, so when I want to move something ever so slightly diagonally, it's kind of difficult to do that with the new advanced move, so I don't really use it a lot. But yeah, I pretty much listened to Ed Sheeran on repeat, building this whole habitat. I am a very happy bunny that there's a new album, because Ed Sheeran's one of my most listened to artists. So if you are an Ed Sheeran listener, what was your favourite song from the new album? Mine is a toss-up between Colorblind and The Hills of Aberfeldy. And I also found the tree just kind of straight up and down. It didn't seem very realistic. It's not supposed to be super realistic, but I just wanted to give it more of a tree shape where it was wider at the bottom and slimmer at the top. So I just like kind of angled the ones that I'd already placed down and angled them so they were pointing wider at the bottom, slimmer at the top. It was a little bit trickier then to make something to fit the top of the tree, because then I couldn't just like flip it upside down, because then it would be wide at the top, not slim at the top. Spreading out the branch over the roof and like kind of moving the door over a little bit kind of helped with the big empty space on that one side. The Twilight branches are so helpful though, even though we did have a few new like branches and things from the tropical pack. We will use some tropical pack items. Some of the things I was like so happy with, but it's nice to kind of pull in some of the Twilight pack stuff anyway, because most of my zoo is like kind of Twilight themed. There we go. We'll use some tropical pack wood now. It's very similar to the base game wood. So if you don't have the tropical pack, you kind of want to use something to create this kind of Tudor pattern. You can just use base game wood, but I wanted to use the tropical pack. I'm gonna pay the price of an entire pack just to play with the animals. It's like not really worth it, so I like using some of the items. My whole zoo is definitely becoming less limited packs builds now, especially from the last one that I did with Charlie and the Chocolate Factory, but all rules were ignored for Charlie and the Chocolate Factory. I had too much fun with that one. If you haven't seen that, I would recommend going back and looking at that one. And I also introduced my little baby kitten in that video as well, Cariad. She's much bigger now. How about I go show you how much bigger she is, and I'll bring her in and show off how much she's grown since then. I've also done a short all about Cariad too, if you want to see that. And here is Cariad. There's baby kitten. Oh, you're getting a bit big for that now, aren't you? No, mommy. Why are you showing everyone your butthole? Cariad. And she jumps down on the bed. She wants to play. And she's just being a cute little kitten in your baby. Absolutely not, mommy. But yeah, she's getting so much bigger now. There she is. Whoa. And faster too. She's only jumping on the bed next to me. She's fine. No, she don't want to be picked up today. So that's all you're gonna get. Bye guys. I'm gonna go play with her instead. She's just adorable, so I really enjoy showing her off. I also covered these windows with the same wood panels so it would all match together. This is an easy way to customize your own windows. If you have a window that's not flexi color, like that one wasn't, and you want it to be flexi color, you could just use planks of wood that are flexi color, like the ones from the East Asian style or the Planet Zoo style, and cover the window with the planks of wood, so then you can change it to any color you like. And then those windows that were originally wood are now pink. Purple, like my freshly dyed hair. I love it. I love having the fresh purple. The pink that you saw last time you saw me is literally this washed out. If you're a fan of bright hair colors, I would go for the live hair dyes. This is the, why can I never remember the name of it? It's like the vibrant purple. There's a pink and a purple, but if you have the purple hair dye and you wash it out for a couple of weeks, I'd say about 5-10 washes, it turns pink, so you get like a 2-in-1. There's these really cute little stepping stones coming from the front door and like along the corner of the little cottage as well. So I kept with the same color of stone or rock as the big rocks behind the tree. And they are the tundra ones. I wanted a really grey looking rock to contrast against the slightly grey toned wood of the big tree. And this just really tied everything together. As soon as I put those down, I was like, oh my god, this is adorable, yes. Use an advanced move in terrain sculpting as well. I love doing this. If you go into the second tab in the terrain UI, you can select any shape you want. So like if you want to make a swimming pool, you can select that. rectangular shape. You can change the size in the settings to make it deeper, wider, however you want it, like what size you want it. And then if you press X before you click anything, that will put it into advanced move, and then you can make sure that your terrain manipulation is completely flat. So if you wanted to make that swimming pool, because if you try and do that without doing advanced move, it can kind of create different heights and different widths, and you can kind of experiment a little bit with that as well, like trying to make a river and putting angle snap on so you can create exact bends in your river. The advanced move with the terrain manipulation is so helpful. You could make really fun shapes with the different shapes available in that type of terrain manipulation, like cylinders, but I usually use it the most when making rivers. And the cottage does have a little river and a water wheel. We do actually have a water wheel in game. We got from the East Asian style, I think, and you've got a still one and a moving one. I really wanted it to be animated. I think it was just more cutesy, really, isn't it? Like more Disney, having everything animated. But I really wanted it to be similar to the reference image of Snow White Sleeping Beauty's cottage, where the water's like flowing down over the water wheel. I really like using trees as bushes when I am struggling with making sure that animals are happy with the foliage. So if you want a little bit of a variation, if the animals don't like any bushes in their habitats but they like trees, I like using some trees as bushes, especially the mangrove trees, both styles, the mangrove apple and the coastal mangrove. They're really good bushes. If you lower them into the ground using shift or advanced move, both work. Shift is kind of a quicker way because you can like just hold shift, lower it down, click shift once, and then it'll snap back up to the ground level. That's a little bit of a quicker way to do it, but if you do want a little bit of a variation with the bushes, you can use different trees as bushes just by lowering them into the ground, and that really helped with this habitat because the fossas were very fussy. And lastly, I wanted to make a custom education frame, board frame, and of course I wanted to create a spinning wheel. I've actually used a wagon wheel from base game as the template. I wish this wagon wheel had that wheel individually. The newer packs do have individual wheels, like the conservation pack has an individual wheel, and I think this new pack, the tropical pack, has an individual wheel too. The rotation axis of these objects is very different to what I'm used to as well, so that I really struggled with that, recreating this wheel. But these pieces have 0.5 size. When I seen that, wow. I always complain that I want more 1 meter size things, like a 1 meter square. Love those. But seeing a 0.5, I was like, oh, you listening? I also created like the rest of the spinning wheel thing. I just googled Sleeping Beauty spinning wheel and picked one out of the multiple different styles that I saw for the spinning wheels. I think it's supposed to like make wool, right? You put like raw wool, like sheep's wool in, and it spins to create strings like of wool, like yarn. Yeah, creates yarn, right? We would call both wool. Like string, yarn. I think that's what these are actually meant for. I don't know where the needle is in this entire thing. Where is it supposed to be? Is it on the little like stick area, or is it on the wheel area? I don't know. But because this whole build was inspired by the fact that there's a myth that Fossas licks can put you into a deep sleep, I wanted the thing that puts Sleeping Beauty into a deep sleep. But that is pretty much it. This one was really fun. I love recreating things though. If you have any ideas of things that I could recreate, or like sort of myths, superstitions, Disney, supernatural, paranormal, all of the above, something different, fairy tales, especially if it links to an animal. I don't mind if it's from the tropical pack, the grasslands pack, or the Twilight pack. I still have a couple from each of those packs that I haven't built habitats for yet. If you enjoyed this video, smash that like button, and if you haven't already and you would like to, it would mean a lot to me if you could subscribe and hit the bell to be notified whenever I upload a new video. I upload speed builds on Wednesdays and shorts tutorials on Sundays. I also post on TikTok, Instagram. All of my socials are linked in the description as well. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you have a wonderful day, and I will see you next time. Goodbye!